Hi, my name is Johnny Kerr, and welcome to my review of the film Rush by Ron Howard. Now, this is Ron Howard's first film since the 2011 stinker, The Dilemma. I think the less said about that, the better. If you've seen it, I'm sure you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm pleased to announce that Ron Howard, we all know he's a great director, he's fared a lot better out this time. Now, the story of Rush revolves around a sporting rivalry. This is the sporting rivalry of Niki Lauda and James Hunt in the 1970s, particularly 1970 to 1976 Formula One racing scene. Now, the story starts in 1970. We see both drivers in Formula 3. We see how the rivalry begins, and basically throughout the film we watch the rivalry develop, we watch it unfold, and we watch different events in their life and how that affects them, how it affects their driving, and how it affects their personality and overall their rivalry together. It's a really, really interesting watch, knowing that some of that, obviously a lot of it will be fictionalised for Hollywood and stuff like that, but a lot of it, it will happens, and it's a really, really good watch. There's a lot of bits of the film that are just really, really cool. And this is very much, again, a character study, and it's the two central characters that you're really focusing on here in James Hunt and Niki Lauda. Now, Ron Howard, as I said, he's just come off the back of a really, really bad film in The Dilemma. He's certainly made amends here. Not only is the story between these two guys great, he's really, really captured the characters really, really well. From the word go, we're totally invested in these characters, based on real people, obviously. We're totally invested in these characters. We're desperate to see what's going to happen between these two characters, not only with each other, but in their own separate individual personal lives. I'm not a particularly big Formula One fan, but I loved this film, and obviously, what was good for me was I don't really know much about the two guys. I've heard of Niki Lauda and James Hunt. I don't know that much about them. I didn't know how many world championships they'd won. I didn't know all that much about them. Now, I feel that obviously it was advertised as the James Hunt story. Chris Hemsworth's this big Hollywood star. He was in all the advertising campaigns, but this is very, very much from Niki Lauda's point of view. It is a film about Niki Lauda's rivalry with James Hunt rather than the other way around, if you understand what I mean. It's more from his point of view, as suggested by the narration of his character and everything like that. Now, Chris Hemsworth, if I'm being honest, I wasn't particularly sure about him going into this kind of big dramatic role, but I feel he handled the role of James Hunt really, really well. He played it with enough cocky arrogance and self-assured, but he also had enough charm, remorse, and sensitivity to make you not think that he was a complete and utter dick, essentially. He played the part really, really well. I was really, really pleased with his performance, but the real star turn here is from Daniel Brühl as Niki Lauda, the young German actor. He was previously seen in Inglourious Basterds as the young German chief who obviously tries to get a date with the cinema owner. Yeah, couldn't get my words out there. But he was absolutely fantastic. He plays Niki Lauda so well. He just absolutely aces the sort of straight-laced, stick-up-the-arse, serious demeanour character, but he still brings, with a character like that, they're very, very hard to like, but he brings this sort of charisma to it that you can't help but like him, you can't help but root for him. He's just such an ultimately likeable person, I think. He plays the part so well, and with such depth, you can see what's going on in this guy's mind all the time. His mind's constantly processing things. Everything's so calculated, yet he's letting his emotions come to the fore, and it's really about him sort of letting all that out. And I thought it was such a reserved but such a brilliant turn from Daniel Brühl as Niki Lauda. Real star turn, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him up for some sort of award. Absolutely fantastic. So if you're going to watch this film for anything, I'd certainly watch it for Daniel Brühl's performance, but also Ron Howard. Not only has he captured the characters really, really well in this film, it's really, really stylishly done, and the race scenes are absolutely exhilarating. They're fantastic. In particular, one of the race scenes, it's not even a Formula One scene, it's a scene where Daniel Brühl's character Niki Lauda is picked up by two Italian guys in the back roads with his future wife, and he he basically drives this car, rallies this car through these back roads. It's such a brilliantly shot scene. You can see close-ups, his feet smashing the pedals and the gear changes and swinging around the corners, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's so well done. I absolutely loved that scene. So for they two, for Daniel Brühl and for that scene alone, go and see the film now. But it is a really, really, really good film. Slight criticisms I would have, one of which is a total unavoidable thing. There's nothing they could have done to change it. Was that we get so invested in both of these characters that obviously most of their lives were spent individually away from each other, so it keeps cutting to and from. And just as you get invested in a bit of James Hunt's story, it cuts to Nick Lauda for 20 minutes and you don't see James Hunt at all, and then vice versa. And you just you sometimes feel that these two big characters are fighting. I mean, sometimes you feel it should maybe just have been about one in particular. I know I said that it's more about Nicky Lauda, but there is obviously a lot of screen time for James Hunt, and it does focus on him individually as well. I just feel that obviously these two big characters just basically try to barge each other's faces out like that to get some screen time. I think that's unavoidable. Another criticism I would probably have of it, and this is slight as well, if I'm being honest with you, is because these two big characters both fight and it's a 2-hour film. They're both trying to tell their own stories. They're both trying to get screen time. They're both big personalities. There's really not much else for any of their characters to play around with. I mean, we've got Daniel Brühl's wife, if I'm being honest, I can't remember her name, like character, I can't remember his wife's name in it. We had obviously James Hunt's model girlfriend, Susie, who ended up going off with Richard Burton and stuff like that, is barely in the film. Daniel Brühl's wife, again, is probably the biggest female character in it, but it's still not really get that big a part in it. She's more just for Nicky Lauda to bounce his emotions off, but that's pretty much it. But again, I think that's a slight criticism. I think it was an absolutely masterfully done film. I think Ron Howard is most definitely back on track with this film. I wouldn't be surprised to see it up for some big stuff. Actually, I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and for that reason, I'm going to give Rush a score of 9 out of 10.